Hello everybody, I'm back on Chess 24 with Tactics Test International Master Sopiko Guramishvili. This show I want to dedicate to the most important match of the year. It is World Chess Championship match, and you know that I'm following it very closely, even if there is a huge time difference between USA and Georgia. The game starts at 11 p.m., but thanks to my baby boy Daniel, the time difference is not a big problem, so I can follow all the games during night. I will solve tactics in the beginning first, and then I want to steal your attention and show you some hidden tactics that could have happened in the game 8 and game 10 of the match. You know that game 8 Carlsen lost against Karyakin, and in game 10 he just yesterday actually he bounced back and won a very nice game. First of all, I'm going to use the actually the best feature, if I can say so, of Chess 24. Go to Tactics Trainer and solve the tactics. Here you will see how I am calculating, what kind of lines I'm thinking, what is my method to solve the tactics. I'm using the candidate moves or any other method, so I think it will be very beneficial, and afterwards we're going to see these two games of the match. So I'm going to go to the Tactics Trainer. As you know, there are two features in Tactics Trainer. One, it is speed training, which I always use before the game if I have to play in the tournament and I have a game. I just go on Chess 24, choose the speed tactic trainer. I usually choose 5-minute tactic trainer, and I'm solving as many tactics as possible and as I can. I find it very useful, and I recommend it to you guys, to all of you actually. Okay, so let me go to Chess 24, Tactics Trainer, and start the Classical Trainer. Here we have already the first tactic, which I'm going to solve. I hope you can see that. Whoop! Not really. Some technical problems, but I hope I'm gonna manage. So I'll be very careful, and I hope I can fix it. There we go. I will make the board bigger so that you can see the tactic. And here we are. Alright, it is black's move and white played queen d7. I think we are exchanged down actually. But these pawns, e3 and e4, could be very good. My first thought is to play bishop h2, because after king h2 I would take on d7, rook d7 and e2, and I don't see how he can stop the pawn from promoting. So let's try. Yeah. Ah, that's correct. I think that was very beautiful tactic. How it came to my mind, the queen d7 after queen d7, bishop h2, is that first of all, of course, you calculate moves like e2, but it doesn't work because then he has a lot of checks. I cannot make it here, but always you can analyze on Chess 24. There is a little button here, and which I don't know if you can see that. There is Analyze the Puzzle, and you will go to Analyzes where you can see Computer Analyze. So that's great, and you have to use this feature, of course. So after queen d7, bishop h2, it is just distraction of the king. After, let's say, king f1, then there is a check on f6. So that's why it is important to start with bishop h2 and not with queen d7, because after queen d7, rook d7 and bishop h2, there would be king f1. But now he has to take, and after exchanging the queens, e2, and white cannot stop the pawn from promoting. Let's continue. Ooh, what's going on? It is white's move. Position is pretty complicated. It's something should happen with black king, I suppose. Rook b8 doesn't work because there is a rook b8 check. There is no queen h4 checks. You know, I'm always checking. When it's about tactics, I'm always checking first the checks and sacrifices. So if something works, then great. But if it doesn't work, you just have to always check it, not to miss anything. What can be bishop b5 for me seems interesting, because after AB then it would be rook b8 and rook d7 wins, and if bishop b5, then I would take on c7 with rook c7. I do hope that works, and I'm gonna try it because I don't see any other move for white. Let's say good thing in this position is that my king is very safe, so black doesn't have any checks. That is why I would go bishop b5 here, and that's correct, and I would take rook g c7 if I can do so. Then I want queen e7 mate. Bishop a4, that's tricky because after king a4 there is queen a2, but there is king a3, and black cannot do anything. Very nice. Also, here we can see that I found bishop b5 because my first intention was to play rook b8, and after rook d7, of course, I would win, but there is a check. So I want to close the b file, and bishop b5 comes to mind because after AB, then rook b8 works. There is no check anymore. And after bishop b5, which was played in the tactic, rook c7, let's make it on the board, and just queen e7 is a huge threat, just a mate. And let's say after rook e8, I am sure everything wins, but rook c8 is mating to king c8 and queen c7 mate. Okay, let's continue. So black's last move was f takes e6. And what can be the problem for black here? First move that comes to my mind is rook f8, and the reason is that the only move for black is to take with queen f8, otherwise queen is hanging on b4. So rook f8, queen f8, queen a4. Black cannot go king f7 because of rook f1, king e7 because of bishop c5, and king d8 because of rook d1. So he has to play b5, and on b5 probably I can take on e4. I would play this, and I would think that white is winning here. Yeah, here after rook d8 I thought to give a check on c6, or I can take on e6. Let's say queen e6, queen e7 is only move. Queen e7, king e7, bishop g5, king f7, and white has extra pawn. what queen c6 gives me is not that clear, because after queen c6, let's say black plays rook d7, and queen c8, black plays rook d8. So I would take here. Ooh, no. Probably queen c6. Yeah, after queen e4, rook d8, queen c6 was correct solution. Chess 24 is telling me, but I continued the line and played rook d7. Though I forgot that there is simple rook d1 after rook d7, and if, let's say, queen e7, then queen c8. That's pity. I missed a very simple move. I mean, I saw it, but after queen c6 I was only focusing on rook d7 and queen c8 check and rook d8. But even if it is like that, I really had to try, because after queen c8 and rook d8 I could try to take e6 anyway like that. So pity, but I'm gonna learn on my mistakes, and I hope you will learn on my mistakes and not on yours. Let's continue. Okay. Bishop e5. Something happens on the king side. Something happens on the king side, that's for sure. Knight g6 type of moves comes to mind. Bishop e5 comes to mind. These are two moves that really comes to my mind. Also rook f5 with the idea of queen h7 mate. Let's say rook f5, and if he takes on b2, then I have queen h7. What happens on knight g6? I'm not sure, because he can just go king g8, so probably that's not the way to proceed. I would go rook f5. No, that's a bad move. Rook h6, I also thought rook h6. And after gh, oh, this I didn't see. Queen f6, bishop f6, and bishop f6. That's very, very beautiful. I was just so much into this queen h7 idea that I hurried up. I played rook f5. I think that this is also winning. It is winning, but not like it's winning completely. Let's say he would play here something like h6, because it's huge threat to play queen h7, and I'm not sure how he can actually put like h6 probably, and bishop e5. This looks completely winning, just a disaster. But of course rook h6 also wins on spot because of gh. I wanted to play rook h7, but after gh, queen f6, and bishop f6, this is a mate. And remember that it's always better to give the mate rather than have a completely winning position, because mate just ends the game, and even if you have completely winning position, something, not very likely, but something might go wrong. So it was better to play rook h6, oh, of course, but I secretly think that rook f5 is still winning. Okay. Now it is white's move again. King e6. Okay, I guess it should be mate once again. Queen e7, rook e7, rook d6, king f7. Is it enough? Doesn't seem so. What if rook d6, then bishop d6? So I have to be very careful here, because I think that this position is completely winning, and black should be mated very soon. What are my candidate moves? If I don't see anything very obvious, then I think that what are my candidate moves? Then I look the whole board. The plus of the candidate moves is that you're looking the whole board. And with this sentence, it might sound strange, but with this I mean that sometimes you're focused on something, on some rank or flank, let's say king side or queen side, and then you forget to look at the other side of the board. And with candidate moves, when you think, what are my candidate moves, it helps you to look at the whole board and see maybe you missed something on another flank or in the center. Let's get to candidate moves then, and let's say queen e7 is the first move that comes to mind, rook d6 is another one, knight d4 is there. What else can be? Now that I think of it, maybe there can be a combination of rook d6, bishop d6, knight d4, it's a mate, so he has to take, queen d4, f5, it's only move to go queen, king e5 and queen g3 mate. Very beautiful, it's very beautiful. You see, it's very good to say and to look at candidate moves, because like this I found the mate, which might seem that, okay, come on, it's just mate in 3 moves, how can you not find it? But not that easy. First thing that came to my mind was queen e7, but after rook e7, rook d6, king f7, there was no mate. And after rook d6, I also thought that, oh, what if I play knight d4? But on knight d4, the king goes on d7, and then it would be difficult to play something else, and maybe there is no mate even. So after rook d6, king d6, bishop d6, the point of course was that now queen is very powerful on 7th rank, it controls the squares and king cannot go. Knight d4 check, he has to take, otherwise it's mate. Look at this, the bishop is here, so king cannot move anywhere. And after queen d4, f5, only move once again is king e5 and queen g3, mate. Very beautiful. I liked this puzzle very, very much. Okay, let's continue. And what can be? Ooh, endgame, but mate, right? Rook d5, e d5, queen e7 mate, king d5, queen d4 mate. This is easy. Yeah, this is nice. This is what I mean, that if I don't see something very obvious, now in this position I did not need to think about candidate moves, because the very first move that came to my mind was rook d5, and I right away see that after rook d5, king d5 is mate, e d5 is mate, and okay, if king goes to c7, which probably is the right move, then after queen a7, let's show it on board, king c7, queen a7, king c8, check once again, then check from d8, king b7, rook d7, and okay, this just loses and it's a mate anyhow. Actually, queen b7 is mate, queen a7 is mate, rook d6 is mate, queen c6 is mate. Oh my god, so many mates. Just wonderful position. Anyhow, win anyhow. Okay. Oof, pawn endgame. I always have to think when it is pawn endgame, because there we need precise calculation. It is not like, oh, this is an obvious move. I'm promoting my pawn and that's it. No, here might be some tricks. How can I promote the pawn? Or tempo is very, very important in pawn endgames and actually in any endgame. Kings are becoming super awesome, super strong pieces in the endgames. So let's think, what can we do here? First of all, is it Zugzwang or not? If it was black to move. I ask this question to myself because I see that I can play g3, which means that it would be black's move, and then if it is black's move and it is in my favor, of course I would play g3. Candidate moves here can also be very useful. Let's say e6 we have to calculate, g3 we have to calculate, and I don't see any other move that makes sense. Let's say king c7 doesn't make sense because of king e7. So let's start from e6. Why this is so bad? Okay, e6, what can black do? There is f e6, f6, and f5. Or there is king f8. This position really, really needs calculation. Okay. g3 is also interesting because after g3, if he plays king d8, if he plays king, let's say f8, king d7, king g7, king e7, king g8, then I don't get anything. Probably. I'm never sure in pawn endgames. It needs very precise calculation. Okay, e6, f5 should not work because of g3. But then there can be g5, take and f4. Very tough. Okay, f5, then e7, f4, king e6, f3, g takes, g5, hg, h4, g6, h3, g7, h2, g8 mate. That's nice. So what if he plays f6 with the idea of g5? e7, g5, king e6, gh, king f6, h3, gh, h4. This, I guess, is draw. Tough. This is really tough. King d7. Does it give me something that I should be proud of? I don't know. What do you think, guys? You would play g3 or e6. Let's take a look once again to g3. g3, king f8, king d7. I don't look king d8 because then after e6 I'm probably winning. So king f8, king d7, king g8, king e8, king g7, king e7, king g8, king f6, king f8, and then I might play king f6, king f8, and e6. I would play g3. Let's see. Oh yeah. this is the solution. Very good. And I'm taking on g6 and h5. Perfect. I think it was very nice line to play, let's say, e6, f6, e7, g5, king e6, gh, king f6, and it's important to know that h3, gh, and h4 is really draw here because you win the h pawn, but king is in time to get on h8, and this is theoretical draw. Okay, I'm gonna look at the chat so that I'm sure everything goes fine. I'll read your comments and see if you have any questions. You can, of course, meanwhile ask me any question and I'll try to answer it. So let me see if you are solving the tactics with me also. And yeah, I guess everything works fine. You were also solving these tactics with me, and e6 and g3 was the suggestions. Very, very good. I think it was very demonstrative, very instructive position, tactic where you need very precise calculation. And when it is like this, and if you have time, you always should take and you have to calculate both lines, which is connected with e6 and which is connected with g3. The benefit of that position was that there were two obvious moves, and you have two obvious candidates, and you can just take your time and look at both. If you think that one is winning, take a look once again to be sure that it is winning and it's not you're not missing something. Okay, let's get back to the tactics and let's continue. We have new position. There we are. Okay, ending again. But here, Black's king, I really do not like how it looks. Let's say if my king was on b6, then knight c5 would be mate. So this might give me some idea of maybe solving this position. If I go king b6, actually, how he can defend? Knight c5, b3, a3. Is it that easy? Let's try. Okay, mate. Oh, nice. Very nice. This position first scared me, like, oh, I'm like, oh, ending again. I have to calculate very precisely. But the first thing I spotted was very helpful, because the king on a4 was actually is very weak, and I imagined that, oh my god, if my king was on b6, then it would be mate. So first move that comes to mind is, of course, king b6, and what happens after king b6. It's important to see that after king b6, b3, a3, you control this b4 square, and anyway black cannot do anything, and after b3, a3, knight c5, mate is mate, and it's unavoidable. Okay, let's continue. These type of positions I really like, because I think that there should be some mate coming, and I'm looking forward to it. But of course it needs calculation, and precise one. First move that comes to mind is rook g7. And when I see rook g7, I'm like, I want to try and find second move that comes to my mind, but my mind is thinking what happens after rook g7. So I'm going to calculate it. Rook g7, bishop g7, obviously, rook c7, rook c8, sorry, king f7, rook c7 check, king e8, and if I take, let's say, queen g7, then I myself would have problems with queen f2. That's why I need to find something very smart. What can be this something very, very smart? Okay, rook c7 is not obliged after rook g7, bishop g7, rook c8, king f7. I can play queen h5, king e7 and queen e8, king d6, rook c6, mate. Nice. Okay, rook g7, check. Yeah, this is very important moment also because sometimes there are moves that, oh, no, it's not mate. Oh, oops. King d5, of course. Queen d8 is mate. Yeah, shame, shame, shame. I just thought that rook c6 was mate, and okay, actually, after king d5, I can play queen d7, knight d6 is there, rook d6, and I could still win it in my game, but I might not be so lucky, and after king d6, you of course have to finish the game. If there is a mate, just do it. Queen d8, finish the game. No bullshit with rook c6. That's I'm telling to myself. Okay, what I wanted to say here is that sometimes it happens so that we are calculating moves automatically. And what I mean with automatically is that it's like check, 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 and we are not looking at other options. This happened to me when I calculated the first line with rook g7, bishop g7, rook c8, king f7, and my automatic move here was rook c7 check, which I believe might be, you also might think, but we always have to take time and think that there might be something else. I really felt in this position that rook g7 was the right move, and that's why I tried to go deeper, and I double checked this line, and then I found that, okay, why rook c7 actually, when you can play queen h5, and after queen h5, queen e8. And of course, after that, after my brilliances, I had to just give a mate, but I thought that rook c6 was mate. It's okay, I'm gonna learn. We have another position right now, and this seems, oh my god, what happens on the king side? Mate or no mate? Okay, one thing I spot in the position is that for now I can make some kind of move, which is not, okay, I don't have any check or something, but which is helpful for me. Because there is no check, these pawns on b4, d4, f6 closes the bishop on e7, which means that there is no check on c5 or something else. The pattern I imagined here is that, let's say my knight is on d6, bishop d6, I play g6, g7, and bishop c4 is kind of a mate. How can I do that? I'm not sure. First candidate move, g6. Takes, but then plays rook h1. Now there should be something better, something that that is straightforward. What can be something straightforward? Candidate moves. I really need these candidate moves now. Knight e5, knight d6, g6. Why I'm giving this knight actually? There is no obvious reason for that. Well, knight e5 and knight d6 came to my mind because I wanted to give a check on f7. But even if I do so, does it give me winning position? Not sure. G6 feels to be the right move. Hg, Fg, Rook H1, check, King G8, maybe no check, but knight d6, and if, but then it's draw. I wanted Rook H6, King F7, and Knight F7 and King G7, Knight H6, but then it's draw. Another thing is that, am I playing here for the win or for a draw? I think I played for the win. Not so easy. What are your move candidates? Can you tell me? I would play g6 if it was my game. But here I have time to solve. I have you guys to help, and I'm gonna use that. Knight g6 does not give me anything. g6, hg, fg. I think this is critical line. g6, hg, fg, rook h1. g7, then king g8. Oh, maybe knight e8. Rook h6, bishop c4 is there. I mean knight d6 first, rook h6, and knight e8. This seems to be really winning. Is it so? Oh, directly. That's worse, isn't it? Still the same, I would play g7, king g8, knight d6. Bishop d6 is bishop c4, rook h6, knight e8. Let's try. Yay! Good! Very good. Okay. That was tough. It was important to see this one. And it's very beautiful. Somehow black's pieces, black has extra material, but black's pieces are so badly placed that he cannot do anything against bishop c4. And it's really very, very nice tactic. Okay, let's continue. Rook f1. First move that comes to mind is rook f1, king f1, queen d1. Queen d1, knight e3, king e1. Is it enough? After king e1, do I have something or not? Because I just don't want to trade queens and go into knight endgame. That doesn't seem to be winning. Rook f1 seems to be right move for me. King f1, knight e3, queen e3, queen d1, knight f2. King f2. Do I achieve anything? Probably not really. Tough. Okay, queen d1 after rook f1, king f1 probably doesn't work, because after queen d1, knight e3, king e1, and I don't see how can I proceed this one. Maybe queen c2. So let's say rook f1, this is obviously the move, and queen c2 and knight e3. Oh, so beautiful. It was really very nice. Rook f1, take, and I was thinking about queen d1 because obviously I wanted double attack after knight e3, but then king e1 and he was defending the queen. But queen c2 is very nice move. The idea, of course, is that after queen c2, knight e3, white cannot defend this queen anymore, and after king e1, king f2, or anywhere, I'm just grabbing the queen on c2 and black has extra piece. And he could not also, let's say, play queen d4. Actually, pay attention that this knight is very good on c7 because here he cannot play queen d5 and it's all defended. And let's say queen d4 probably is not good move because of, first of all, I have check on b1, but I have also knight e6. Oh, that's very nice. Knight e6. And he cannot grab the d5 pawn because there would be knight e3. Oh, this is very good. I myself like the puzzle. Queen d4 and knight e6 is not very easy to see from far, and if he goes somewhere else, let's say g4 or h4, then after knight e3, well, black is just winning the piece and he has completely winning position. Very good. Right now I would like to take you to the positions I prepared for you. As I promised, it would be from games 8 and from game 10. Very important games, because in these games the match of the score became equal. First, everybody was like, oh my god, it's going to be 0-1 when Karyakin won, and then he was pushing again very much in the game 9, but Magnus defended it very well, and the game was drawn. And in game 10, actually, Karyakin missed the forced to draw, and after that Magnus played brilliant game just in his style, and he showed us that he can bounce back, that the match is going to be super interesting, and that the match is going to be actually 12 games. There is no possibility that it ends earlier. My prediction is that the coming games, 2 games, will be drawn, and we will see tie breaks. But of course, I would be very, very happy if the games will be much more sharp, and maybe not draw, but somebody wins the game 11 and then another takes the revenge. That would be ideal scenario for me. And then I would like to see tie breaks, of course. Okay, let's go to the analysis where I saved these games, and let me ask you, what do you think about the positions I prepared? First of all, you have to excuse me and you have to give me some time, just a minute to prepare it. Okay, there we go. Probably I will need to adjust the board in the analysis tab, so you have to excuse me, and you have to understand that it's not that easy. Sometimes the program is not very kind to me. Okay, so I have ready the position, and let me see if it works. Oh, it works! Great news. So this was the game, and knight b5 was played. Carlsen was playing with white pieces against Sergei, and Sergei did not play very obvious move here. Actually, when he played, his last move was knight g4, and when he played knight g4, I thought that after knight g4 it's obvious that he plays queen g5. He did not play that, and I think that was a really better move that was in the game. And after queen g5, I thought that what could he have been afraid of? Like, why wouldn't he play queen g5? And then I thought, okay, what happens on knight b d6? What can be here? So my question is that if this happened and there was queen g5 and knight d6 on the board, what move black could have, and how black can continue this game? To see your comments, I'm gonna use the mobile, because if I use another tab here, you're gonna see all the things I'm doing. So I will keep the board so that you watch it, and I'm gonna use the mobile to follow your comments. So my question is, what move to make and what is the idea? How can you proceed with black pieces after knight bd6? Let me see. I still have to put the show on my mobile phone, and actually it's great because anybody can participate in the show. So Moby is saying bishop g2. I want to see if anybody else agrees. Bishop g2 is not the right move, because after bishop g2 I would take bishop g2, and what could be the idea? You want to attack, but how can you do that? Because I always have queen f1 after bishop g2. there is free space for the queen, and after queen f1, queen can protect the bishop, king is protecting the bishop, and I don't think there are enough pieces to to continue the attack. Also pay attention that after bishop g2, knight e4 can be a possibility afterwards, and it can be really difficult to attack after knight e4, knight g3. Knight e3 is another option that is suggested. And knight e3 I do not think is the right move, because I would simply probably take on e3 with f takes. g2 pawn is protected. Bishop e3, there is a simple knight e3, and let's say rook c1, bishop c1. I would not take rook c1 to give up the knight on d6. So knight e3, f takes e3, I don't see the continuation of the game. I would take a look if there is. Okay, there is correct answer. And this is Moby once again. Well done. Very good. The correct answer is knight h4. It was also suggested what happens after bishop d6, knight d6 and knight h2. Actually, I'm going to show you now all the lines we talked about. First of all, bishop g2, which we do not think that after bishop g2, let's say knight h4, but I think that knight e3 here, or knight e4, or queen f1 just ends the game, because white has an extra piece and there is no enough attack on the king side. Another line that was suggested was knight e3, but after knight e3, f takes e3, there cannot be anything, because let's say bishop d6, knight d6 and rook c1, I wouldn't take rook c1 to give back the d6 knight, but bishop c1 keeps the extra piece and white is completely winning. So the correct move is knight h4, and that's a really great move. Black gives up the bishop on b7, and you might think that that is the most important bishop in this game. That is the most important bishop to attack and to keep an eye on g2. Why on earth would I give it up? But pay attention that after knight b7, there is forced winning line. I'm not gonna say it. What would happen after knight h4 and knight b7? This is my next question. Probably it got a little bit easier, but still, because to find knight h4 is not easy. It's really tough. And once you see knight h4 move, let's say you're calculating this line, and once you see the line, you have to calculate it till the very end. Sorry, you cannot play a move without calculation. It is always like, I play this, my opponent plays this, I play this. So I want you to write in comments the line you are calculating. Knight h4, knight b7, this type of moves from both sides. Not only one move, but the whole line. How can black win? How can black end the game here? And I'm gonna take a look at the comments. Let's see if there is some new suggestions. So far not, but I understand it because it's very difficult. You need time to calculate. I can give you a tip. We didn't play knight h4 just to, how to say, slowly attack. We played knight h4 because we see something very powerful winning on the spot. What can it be? There are a lot of pieces on the king side, so do not be afraid to sacrifice some of them, because in the end you will either get some material up or mate. Okay, so Durfan Fragment said knight f3, gf, knight e3, and Gosmar, whose answer is correct, well done, congratulations, is that after knight f3, gf, knight e5. Very, very good. First of all, let's take a look at this suggestion, which was knight f3, gf, and knight e3. This I do not think that wins the game, because obviously we're not going to play bishop g2, but king h1, and I guess the idea was that black is winning the exchange like this. But actually it's not an exchange, but it is 3 pieces for the rook, and that's a lot, really a lot. Even 2 pieces is usually very, very good for the one who has 2 pieces in the rook, but 3 is really too much. After gf, it is very much better to take on d1 first, and after rook d1, queen d1 does not work because of knight e3, and after king h1 we win the queen. But after rook d1, okay, fg he has to take, but rook d1 loses to knight e5, which was suggested already in the comment, and king h1 should be played. On bishop g2 there is knight f3, and black is winning the queen. And after king h1 it is rook e1, rook e1, queen g4, and bishop g2. Of course, white has some kind of compensation for the queen, because he has 3 pieces, but the king is very, very weak, and I think, of course, black has also a pawn, and this is why I think that black is black has a very big advantage in this position. In this game I wanted to show you just this fragment. I do not want to proceed the game because we are all following it, and what happened in the game we all know. I do not want to ask you, even if it happened in the game, the tactics and the very nice moves, I do not want you to solve it, because obviously you will know the answer because you're following the game, but I chose some kind of hidden lines that could have happened in the game, and it would be very interesting. How would you continue? Let's now take a look at another game, which is from yesterday, and this is the game that Carlsen won. So let me just put it, let me put the right position here. First of all, in this game I want you to pay attention to 2 moves. Probably you know that Karyakin missed a forced draw here, but once you're looking at the game, you might not see it right away, because of course the best players, Magnus himself missed it and Sergei also missed it, did not see it, and you could have also not read it in the article or did not pay attention to it. So I want to ask you, how could Sergei make a draw here? He played d5 and this was not right move. How he could continue? And after d5, actually Magnus used his power, his main strength, that he is best in these type of positions, and then he really played very, very, very good and scored in the game 10. But Sergei missed very important moment, and it was right in this position. What should black play here? And please, once again, when you're calculating the line and when you're about to write in the comments, do not write just a move. Please do write the line. What do you calculate and what do you think? I also do not suggest you to use the engines, because I want you to work, and I think that it is very important to look at the position, to work on the position, because then you will understand it more and it will be much more useful for you. So please do not use the engines and do not write the right comment and right solution in the comments, because then you ruin the whole concept of the show, and then you ruin the work of what others are doing. So please do not do that. I'm sure that you're not doing that, and I'm sure my viewers are not using anything, but I have to warn you, because it's much better for you. Okay, so I'm gonna have a look at the comments and let's see what moves are suggested. And once again, there is Moby. He writes the correct move, but he is not listening to me. Please do write the line. What do you think? What did you calculate? Because if it was your game, you cannot just play knight f2 and say what's gonna happen afterwards and wait what's gonna happen afterwards. You have to calculate something, and once you calculate the line, please do write in the comment below. So Raghav says that after knight f2, king g1, then knight h3. These I already see, but now you have two move candidates. I'm not going to do it on the board, because I want you to practice on the visual calculation, which is very useful, because in the game, unfortunately, we cannot take back the moves and we have to visually calculate. So after knight f2, there are two moves, which is king g2 and which is king g1. Let's say what happens after king g1. Knight h3, obviously white would not go king h1, because then it would be perpetual check. But after knight h3, he goes king g2. Now you have to see that there are two pieces that are under attack. This is the queen on f6 and the knight on h3. How would you play here? So the question is knight f2, king g1, knight h3, king g2. How would black play? Let's see. In the comments I read that you guys are calculating another line, which is of course very, very good. Okay, this I'm gonna show you. After here we are, knight f2, king g2, knight h4 is a very special, very nice move, because after gh there is queen g6, and actually black is really winning here. King h1 and queen h5 is completely winning for black. But my question was, after king g1, knight h3, king g2, what happens here? So let's see who will be the first to tell me what is the right move. I'm waiting. We have to see another very important moment in this game, which was not played but could have happened, and it would be quite nice. The move that is suggested, Raghuv is telling knight h4. I understand the idea. It's very nice that after gh you can play knight f4. But with knight h4, white can just take on h3. And I do not see how can black proceed. Actually, I think that black is losing here. I gave a huge tip showing that after knight h4, black can play gh and knight f4. So I guess the solution is obvious now, and you guys see it. Let me see. Yes. Knight hf4 or knight gf4, and that's true. Knight f4, gh, knight f4, rook f4, ef, and it is true that white has 2 pieces for the rook, but black has extra 2 pawns for that, and position seems to be very good for him. So what I think is that white should have gone for the perpetual check, and it would be forced draw after 20 moves. Another important moment, what was in the game, was that after rook f e1, in this position, black played h5. But I'm interested if black played rook af8 and white protected the pawn via e2, how could black proceed the game? So this is my next question. In this exact position, how would you play with black pieces? So I'm going to take a look. Raghuv is saying that it was not his idea, and it was from Carlson in the press conference. I do apologize because I did not have time to watch the press conference. It was really very late in Georgia, and I was only following the game. So probably knight h4 was very interesting, but right at the moment I cannot see what happens after king h3. But I want you to take a look at this position at this moment and try to tell what's gonna happen. And sorry. I'm really sorry if I and probably I mispronounce his name. Navaditbat said knight f4, and this is the right move. Very good. It doesn't win on this spot, but First, I would like to take on e4, because after d e4, then knight e4 is more powerful, knight f4 is more powerful, and after, let's say, gf, ef, and probably white should play f3, f takes e3, and rook e3. It is nice position for black. I hope you liked the hidden tactics that I prepared for you. I'm really very much looking forward for the remaining games. Just 2 games left, and the fate of the match would be decided. We will know who would be the champion. Would Magnus be able to keep the title, or we would have another new world champion, and would he be Sergei Karyakin? I'm really very much looking forward to it. I probably you're also very much looking forward to it, so we're all going to be watching that tomorrow. Very excited. And once again, my prediction is that we're going to have tie breaks. Let's see what will happen, and write in comments what is your prediction. That was it for today. I will be back on my usual schedule, which is Thursday evenings. We're going to have Banter Blitz. We will already know who is the world champion, and we will of course talk about the match and talk about the games that will happen in tomorrow. That will happen tomorrow and the day after. So stay tuned. Be there on Thursday evening, and have a great evening. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.